You know how fast you were going?
What? How fast you were going?
I don't know. 10?
8.
Be advised, this is an explicit podcast. If you're easily offended, get your panties twisted into a knot. Leave now. Run to your safe space. Get your little cloth for your tears. All the opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and his guest and do not reflect the opinions of any local or government agency. You only heard that opening in a long time, have y'all? Today, I'm excited. We have a special guest. I hope I'm saying his last name right. David Goldstein, I believe, or Goldstein. We're going to bring him in a second. He's the retired NYPD lieutenant. He has worked for LAPD. He worked for a college for a while. He's written a book. We're going to talk about that. And he's got a whole lot of experience. He was in the Marine Corps. Just lots of experience. So I'm sure he has a lot of great stories to tell us too. We're going to bring him in here. See if I pronounced his, did I get your last name right? Or is it Steinstein?
Yeah, you had it right. You had the first time, Steen. Yeah. It was good.
All right. Welcome to the show. This is your time. Like I said, you got all kind of experience, big city experience. You know, I'm an old country cop. So,
well, thank you so much for having me. So we were talking about earlier, I wrote I got a book coming out next week. It's a police novel, and I tried to, it takes place in Brooklyn in 2014, and I tried to deal with a lot of stuff that cops deal with on a pretty much daily basis, and, you know, there's some crazy stuff in there, but it's stuff that, could happen to anyone. Basically, it's a crime novel about patrol officers and the challenges they face working in a busy urban area. And this is true for every department. Patrol cops are the backbone of any department. When someone calls 911, they expect someone to respond. And it's going to be the patrol cops 90% of the time. And you're handling everything as a patrol cop. You're handling homicides, shootings, robberies, burglaries, crazies in the street, drunks in the street, everything. And so at the end of the day, it's the dirtiest job in policing when you think about it, because you have the most citizen contacts, and it's also the most indispensable part of policing. And so I wanted to really drill that in and make that an integral part of the story. So the main character, Joshua Rothschild, he's a young NYPD sergeant. This isn't based on me. I write about places I work, but it's not based on anyone in particular. But he's a young NYPD sergeant with about 10 years on the job. He had a bad relationship with a former coworker. Coupled with the grind of policing, he's thinking about leaving the profession and taking a well-paid security job. New Year's Eve 2014 in the morning, he and his officers respond to the first homicide of the year. It's a middle-aged ex-con with a long rap sheet, which is, it's not an uncommon thing. There's no witnesses, bad video footage, and so there's not a lot to go on. There's a mishap at the crime scene, and he soon leaves because the radio calls start piling up in the precinct, and he leaves to help his cops out. He soon has a violent encounter with a disorderly male who bites him and then spits blood in his face. So then he has to go out on the AIDS cocktail for a little while, which I don't know if you've been on it, but
no, I've been fortunate enough I hadn't. I've known a fireman recently had to go on one though.
Yeah, I've been on it twice, and it's not, the first time sucked, the second time wasn't that bad, but yeah, it's annoying. It's just a series of meds you could take for 30 years to try so you don't get HIV, which you probably won't get anyway, I found out. But anyway, so Josh is out on the AIDS cocktail for a while, and we meet some of his cops. They respond to a bunch of typical calls where I try and show the hard, often split-second decisions cops have to make on a daily basis. None of the calls are crazy or out of the ordinary. It's all stuff that you're going to deal with in a busy place very frequently.
What's the name of the book?
It's called Another Body in Brooklyn.
When's it coming out? You said next week?
It is coming out, the end of September. So I can't give the exact date. It's either going to be the 29th, 30th, or October 1st, but it's going to be.
Is it going to be like on Amazon or?
Yeah, it'll be available on Amazon and on Amazon as an ebook or as a paperback, and it'll also be after that. It's going to be available in Barnes and Noble if you go on the website. But for right now, it's going to be on Amazon and in paperback or ebook.
Well, it sounds interesting. I have to get me a copy and read it. I think I remember how to read. Yeah,
It's a perishable skill, but you'll be able to remember.
There are a lot of perishable skills, like DWI writing.
Yeah, and like when I read the book, I just tried to make it as realistic as possible, because a lot of police books you read, it's either about like one case. I mean, there is murder that they're looking at, and there's a lot with that, but it's about one case, or it's about like detectives, or it's just some silliness where it's like some civilians solving murder mysteries, and I'm just trying to like give a realistic view of what policing is like from the cops and also from the detective's point of view, mostly from the street cops' point of view. And I think I also deal with a lot of the book is kind of about saying like the kind of cop you are is how you deal with the adversity. Like everybody's going to have bad experiences with the higher ups in the department. I don't know anyone who hasn't. You're gonna deal with people who don't know what they're doing, who don't have a lot of experience, but they're telling you things that aren't the right way to do things. But the way you deal with that and the way you interact with the community and the way you do your job, despite all the negative stuff, you're going to deal with people in the street who are going to hate you, who are going to fight you for no reason, who are going to hate you. But the way you deal with all that says more about the kind of person and the kind of police officer you are than if you just spend your whole day complaining and feeling sorry for yourself, because everyone has a reason to feel sorry for themselves on the job. We all complain about the job, about the, the stuff we deal with. The one thing I never tried to complain about was the actual work, because, it sucks sometimes, but I didn't get into the job thinking that it was going to be great all the time. I mean, I know when I first became a cop, I thought every single person's going to be a slugfest getting every single person into custody. Every single person's going to fight me. And it's not like that. A fair amount of people do fight you, and you're also fighting people who are, suffering from a mental issue or drug or alcohol or whatever. But it's not, it's definitely not as crazy as I thought it would be, though obviously there's a certain element of craziness that, sucks too. Like you don't think that people are going to spit in your face and, like stuff like that. And it does happen. But I mean, so I always tell people, you get into policing, did you think it was going to be all rosy? No, you knew that there was going to be bad people out there, and you got to deal with it. And the way you deal with them and interact with them, it's going to make you be a better cop and a better person too. Because if you want to look in yourself in the mirror after 20, 30 years, and you were the guy who complained his whole career through and did nothing and didn't go out of his way for anyone and did the bare minimum, well, I don't see how that could have possibly been a satisfying career. But if you were somebody who actually worked and went the extra mile every time, then I think even without accolades and without anything like that, it could be that's a satisfying and honest career.
Oh yeah. Well, I remember when I went through academy, the instructor said, if you go through your whole entire career as a police officer and never get sued, you never did your job. Because well, I got that out the way within my first year. I was in federal court getting sued. Thank God we won.
People are afraid of federal court. It's like it's federal court. It's
federal court way better. If you get sued in law enforcement, you want to go to federal court way before you go to local court.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
but it's part of the job.
You started in LAPD.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you were born in California, or?
No, I was born in New York. I was in the Marines. I got out before all the wars and everything like that. But I was in the Marines and I was getting out. And New York at that time, it was late 90s. They weren't hurting for people at all. So I remember I called. We were doing like a deployment to Greece, like a 3-week deployment to Greece. And I was going to miss the NYPD test. And I called them up and I said, hey, can I take it at a different time? I'm in the military. You know, I got to take it next year. Very nasty. Now they wouldn't do that. Now they'd be begging me to.
Yeah.
But so then I went out to LAPD, was coming over to the Marine bases, and I just took the test and I went into the out-of-town testing process and actually started at LAPD when I was still getting paid from the Marines when I was on like terminal leave. So it worked out well. And I was there for 2.5 years. I spent my first year on probation. I was in South Central LA and Southwest Division. Then I went up to West Valley Division. But I liked the job there, but I didn't love LA. So I did wind up going back to New York. And then I had to go through the whole NYPD Academy before but.
Yeah, it's amazing how so many departments, even here in Louisiana, it's like in Louisiana, a lot of the departments through the state, is the post academy I went through, which it don't even exist anymore. It was at LSU. It was at the LSU College. But they pretty much recognize the same post academy. The only one agency is if I try to go to state police, they make you go through the entire academy again.
Yeah.
That's what stopped I got a good buddy of mine that I trained, and he tried to get me to go. I'm like, I'm not going through another academy. I'm not. The guys, they're not going to holler. This is when they're still hollering in your face. I know that guy. He hollers in my face. It's not going to be pretty. I mean, 'cause I've been doing this longer than him. So state police, and I think Baton Rouge City, they'll hire you as a direct hire, but they don't make you go through an academy, but part of your training with them is you got to go learn all our city ordinances and policies and all that stuff like that.
I mean, that makes sense as long as you don't have to go through. I mean,
yeah, but so like I said, state police makes you go through it in complete academy again. It's like I know how to be a cop. Just teach me your policies and your report writing and stuff like that. But
no, it sucks. And I can say that when you've been through an academy, and I worked with some really good people when I was in LA. I mean, I was only on patrol for 2 years there, but I work with some. So when you go through an academy and you've already been a cop, you realize these guys don't know what the fuck they're talking. Most of them, and this is not, listen, I'm sure you can get the best cop in the country who's been in the academy, but for the most part, a lot of these academy guys are in the academy because they don't want to be on the streets. And I'm not saying that's all the case. I'm sure there's some guys who would beat the shit out of me with one hand and are the greatest guys in the world and have been in the academy. But what I'm saying is a lot of the academies, at least from what I've seen in my career, it's guys who were not good street cops or not good detectives, and then they go to the academy because it's very easy to, you work out all day, tell everyone what to do, and you have complete control. It's a lot harder when you go out on the street and you talk to someone disrespectfully, like you talk to them in the academy, and now they're going to punch you in the face because you're talking to them like they're a piece of garbage. And I did see that. We had one guy from the academy, long-time academy guy. I think he was teaching in the academy when I went through the academy. And I was a lieutenant at this point. And he came to our precinct, and they did a thing where they put a lot of the inside people out. Because I don't know if it's like this on a lot of, but NYPD has 36,000 cops or something. I would say about almost half do. I don't think it's half, but it's 14,000 do administrative jobs. It's ridiculous.
That's a lot of people sitting behind desks.
Yeah. And you get guys like me who never do it, and a lot of people, and we learn the job and we know what we're doing, but there's a lot of people, there's a lot of administrative jobs and just all sorts of jobs you couldn't even imagine. If I told you, you wouldn't even understand what they were, and I still don't understand what they were. But so the guy came from the academy, big tough guy in the academy, he had a nervous breakdown. He was afraid to go out on the street. And I'm not saying that that's but I'm saying that's not, it doesn't happen all the time, but it does, at the end, that's why I always say, with the academies, it's I don't know, they say we got to get people ready for the street.
Don't get you ready for the street.
It's about teaching. It's about teaching, and you can't teach people if you've never done it.
The academy, to me, like I said, I went through back in 95, so it's totally different now. It's actually longer, which I don't know. Basically, I had already worked the street. I was a reserve deputy before, so I usually worked I'd been working on the street for over 2 years, almost 3 years before I ever went to a police academy. Because back then, I rode with a full-time deputy, and I was basically got FTO'd, and I learned everything on the street. When I got hired on full-time, then I had to go to police academy. So I'd been on the street for almost 3 years. So I went. So police academy basically, even today, they're good at teaching you case law. Not even policy and procedures, because a lot of police academies don't have their own one. But they teach you case laws. They can teach you how to write a DWI, how to you know test for it and stuff like that. Academy cannot teach you to be a police officer. They can't teach you to be a cop. My instructor in academy was a female. She said, one of our first days in the academy, she says, "Look," she says, "I can teach you." She says, I can get, teach you all this stuff. She says, but I can't make you into a cop. She says, you're either born to do this job or you're not. And the ones that aren't going to make it through academy. And the other ones that aren't, you won't last a year with on the job. You'll quit. And it is true. I mean, I've seen guys, get out on the street. And like you said, I was FTOing a guy. And the first went to an alarm, get there, doors cracked open. And I'm like, all right, he's already been through academy and stuff. And I was like, all right, look, it's an apartment. And I was like, well, we're going to go in. You're going to go in first. And everybody's like, why'd you tell the rookie to go in first? I said, because I didn't want to get shot in the back. Because I don't know this dude, Yeah. I said, I didn't want to get shot in the back. I said, you're going to go in first. I'm going to be right behind you. I said, we're going to do this, this, and this. And I looked at him before we went in. I'm like, I looked at this dude. This dude, before he ever went in, was in straight on full panic attack. I looked at him. I'm like, I thought he was about to pass out. I'm like, this was a long time ago. I was like, what the hell's wrong with you? I know what a panic attack was back then. I was like, what the hell's wrong with you? And he was like, that's what coming out. He was like freaking. He's like, I can't breathe. I can't do this. I was like, look, just take your happy ass back down. Just go sit in the car. I said, go sit in the car. I'll be here. I'll be there in a minute. So I went in. I cleared it myself.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, that's happened like a couple times to me. Not very much. But
he ended up quitting. He didn't come back no more. That was his last day on the job. I didn't get him fired. He quit, which was good because he didn't need to be doing his job.
No, that's cool. Listen, I respect that. If you can't do the job and you realize it, quit. There's nothing wrong with that.
I respect him more for that than trying to, he's going to end up getting somebody hurt or himself hurt.
Yeah.
But
that's the problem. I don't like the guys who stay and they hide somewhere or we've all had cops who we've been tussling with someone and like a bad one or tussling with several people and and most cops will back you, but we've all had guys who was just standing there and we've seen it on the TV. Look at as a cop, you run towards gunshots. In a city, you can hear gunshots a block away. You're running towards it. You hear gunshots from a building. You run into the building. You're not thinking, Uvalde and Parkland and all these times when they were the same kind of how do you not run in when a bunch of kids are being killed? It's like, but it's the same mentality. It's like some people took this job and they just want the good parts of it. They want to get the cool training and they want to be like, oh, I'm a cop, ballsy. But they don't want to do the dirty work.
Until it's time to do cop stuff.
At the end of the day. Yeah. The stuff that the reason it is a great job in a lot of ways, but the reason you get the pension and you get all the stuff is because you have to be the one to go to deal with this when no one else wants to deal with it.
Oh yeah. Well, there's, I got I'll admit to it. I mean, I got a little post-traumatic stress here and there because, I finally admit I was watching a show or something happened, and I turned the channel. I'm always like, what'd you do? And I said, I can't watch that. I said, it's just not making, I didn't, because it was like, it was triggering a little post-traumatic stress with me, and I was like, no, I'm not going to watch it because I could feel it, wasn't making me have a panic attack, but I know when I get like that, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to slip into that, cop mode or whatever I was getting ready to. And I was like, yeah. So, no, it happens. The job changes you. So, you went from LAPD, then I guess your family and stuff was from New York. And I guess you finally got hired on there, which I heard that's a process by itself.
It's not, it's really, now it's not that bad. But back then it was harder. And then now it's actually pretty, they're hurting for people. So,
that's across the nation.
Everyone is. So, yeah.
So, and obviously you worked your way up. So tell us a little bit. I mean, y'all always work with, there's street cops out there work with a partner, right?
Yeah, there's certain exceptions. So if you're on a foot post, you'd be by yourself. And like so you'd be on a foot post in a corner, like right outside a busy housing project. You're gonna be dealing with stuff yourself sometimes. But you do got when you're on the foot post, usually you got like a partner like a block away, or someone and you could always call for backup. But you're gonna be dealing with stuff sometimes. You're gonna wind up in a huge crowd that you're the only person there. It happens. I mean, like. But when you're in a car, you work with a partner. Except like supervisors are supposed to have a driver with them, like sergeants and lieutenants. But you don't always. Like a lot of times, as a sergeant, especially as a lieutenant, I would just drive myself a lot of times because I didn't have enough people.
So that's just crazy thinking that when I was a sergeant, I was on a bike, but I even think about having a driver. I'm like, what?
But it's not like it's a driver, like he's getting the door for you, and it's like it's more like you're the partner. I mean, like it's just because you're going to calls yourself too, and it's just better to be with somebody. Like I mean, yeah, you usually drive like when you're at a crime scene, you might be like, "Yo, give me everyone's name over here" or stuff like that. But it's not like you think like it's like you're some bigwig and you have you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have like a guy who's like, yeah, but but it is funny because my first 5 years in New York, I was in transit, and I was in Brooklyn. We covered the like East New York, Bed-Stuy, Brownsville section of Brooklyn, and so you work by yourself a lot unless you're in plainclothes. When you're in plainclothes, you work with a partner. But so you could be by yourself on a subway platform. 2 a.m. fighting with somebody, and backup's going to be a while away. So you just learn to adjust your tactics.
What's a ways away for y'all?
It's easy. That's the thing. I know for you guys, it could be more. Like so for us. I mean, to me, has it ever taken 10 minutes, especially when you couldn't get out of the radio good? Like there was some, if you were down in the subway or whatever. But I mean, 10 minutes would be a very long time for us.
Oh, if you're fighting, people don't realize if you're fighting somebody full on, 10 minutes is a lifetime. I'm just saying we still have areas out here where I work. Like when I was out right in certain area out here, I won't say exactly, but if I was eastbound on this interstate section, if I had to have backup, my nearest backup, if I was lucky, would be half an hour away.
You see, that is crazy.
That's like,
nothing like that.
That's what everybody's like. Well, that's why I hear some of them big, we in LAPD, and not saying you would, but some of them are like, I said, y'all pick on us, just rural cops. We got to handle business for a whole lot longer sometimes. So sometimes you got to be way tougher because you got no help. Yeah. You have no help. So
no, it's true. It's like that you do things differently when you're working by yourself. You approach things differently, you use different tactics, and especially with you guys when it's like, the freaking 30 minutes away is, I mean, if things go bad enough,
my thing,
like, it's bad. It's it's like, it's a lot different.
Y'all have like crazy strict gun laws.
Yeah. That's why. So you'll deal with a lot of guns in New York just because of the fact that the sheer volume of people, just like because it's over 8 million people crammed into an area that's smaller than the size of Los Angeles. Los Angeles is like 4 million people, so it's not less than half the population in New York City, but it's more spread out. So LA is a lot more spread out. New York, everyone's crammed in. LA, there's a lot more guns probably than in New York City, but there's a lot of guns in New York City, like I said, because you just.
Well, California's got crazy gun laws too, though.
Not when I was out there. They were gun laws. I didn't feel like they were that strict when I was out there, but that was a long time ago. This is going on 25 years ago, so I don't know how it is now.
Well, here,
but New York is pretty strict. New York City, especially.
Well, I know Louisiana. I don't know if you know, Louisiana, your vehicle is considered an extension of your home. So as long as you can legally carry a gun, you can have a gun anywhere you want inside of your car without any permits or anything like that. So we just assume everybody has a gun in their car. Yeah. We just recently, you can conceal carry without a license now. As long as you can legally own a gun here in Louisiana, you can conceal carry. You don't need a permit to do that. So it's like, sometimes I watch stuff on TV with the bigger areas like that, and they're like, I'll see them stop somebody like gun. I'm like, these people could not work here. They would totally freak out because I'll walk up to a car and people's like, hey, I got a gun right here, and I'll look. It's like, okay. I'm like, look, you don't touch your gun, I won't touch mine. They're like, okay, deal, and they'll give me their stuff. It's like I watched them in the big cities, like taking the gun out and doing all that. And people, I said, they probably think we're crazy because I'm like, hey, you don't touch yours. My thing is, if they telling me the gun's right there, they're not going to pull it on me because they wouldn't tell me they have a gun if they planned on, because I mean, it's just nothing for people to have weapons around here. We're open carry state. There's nothing to see somebody, just a civilian walking around with a freaking big hog leg on their side sometimes. And most time people don't even pay attention to it no more. It's like, oh, they just got a gun on them. But it's like,
yeah, no, it's different. I mean, I lived down south for a while, so I mean, I understand. Like, but the cops would adjust. It's just, if generally speaking, if someone has a gun in New York City and they're not a cop and they don't have a permit, which is kind of hard to get right, and they don't have a permit, and generally speaking, they have a gun, it's to do no good with. It's not to protect your home. It's to, do a robbery or you're doing drug deals and stuff like that. So, and you're targeting guns, the guys who are your repeat violent offenders tend to be the ones who have the guns the most. And, those guys, when you do see a gun, like you stop a bunch of guys, are gang members, and there's a gun, they have no reason to have it. Yeah. They have no legal reason to have it. So you're going to immediately go to like, hey, you're going to take your gun out, get out of the car. Whereas if you were down south, it's a lot different because it's like, that people can have guns. But then again, like you can't, if you're a convicted felon.
Oh, you can't. You can't have one here either. That's...
Right. So if you approached a car and you knew, oh, this guy's a previously convicted felon, like he just got out for robbery after 10 years or whatever. So you would know that he can't. If you saw a gun at that point, you would be more.
Oh yeah. Well, as long as he's not. I don't know. I don't know how you are, and you can tell me if you're different. I've been doing this so long now. I go a lot. My gut goes a lot for me. I trust my gut. If I go up there and I can be approaching the car and not know what they have in it because they got tinted windows. And if my gut's telling me, hey, you need to be a little more, I go straight with, I don't double guess myself, So if how I approach a car and stuff like that, I just go off my sheer feelings. It's kept me alive for 30 years on it.
Yeah.
Now,
you got to try and like, people will say, oh, you can't walk up on a car if you can't see if the windows are too tinted. But I've done it too. Sometimes it's like it's not practical to, like, what are you going to do? You're going to call for another unit. Sometimes it's just not practical. And sometimes you just have to accept the fact that, I don't think anything's going to happen. We're judging by the whole situation. But you know what? At the end of the day, Yeah,
it's like some places, I mean, there's not, there is no other unit. So, I mean, you are.
Yeah, and so what are you gonna do? You're gonna make this like a whole big thing, or you're just gonna say, you know what, I just gotta walk up and
do what I got. I mean, do what you gotta do. Stay as tactical as you can.
Yeah.
Now in New York, I noticed, or it may not be true. I see it on TV. I mean, I've watched Blue Buzz. I know it's TV shows, but it's like, do New York cops, y'all wasn't allowed to wear y'all uniforms home. Y'all it's a change at work.
No, yeah. And the reason you don't want to do it now, are you allowed to? Yeah. I mean, people people sometimes come in, but you're not going to do that because, New York is very congested. So, you going home, then everyone on the block is going to know you're a cop. And, there have been cops who, I mean, are they going to take a shot at you? Probably not, though it has happened. I've seen it happen, but more likely, they might mess with your car. Most people will be like, oh, it's awesome, we have a cop on our block, but there'll be that one house, or you got that abandoned house that people moved into that shouldn't be there. And, they're not going to like the fact that you're a cop. So usually you do, you always do. I mean, I always do, you change out your uniform.
So I was just going to say, I have a take-home unit, and we'll have that and a motorcycle. So, I leave usually one at the state. Oh, yeah, but I'm issued 2 vehicles. So it's not too hard because it's parked in my driveway, but it's like.
Believe it, that's every New York City cop's dream. Everyone says, yo, down south, man, they get to take their cars home. They get to, they get to take it. And I was like, yeah, but you know what? If you took your car home, why don't you park it in your driveway and see how, a marked car in your driveway and see how long it takes before someone,
But you know what? We very seldomly have that here. Of course, I have 5 acres. It's not like I'm not in a city or nothing where I'm parked in a parking garage or something. Right. My driveway's, almost 100 yards long. I'm going to, it's kind of obvious if you're coming up in my yard to do something. I have dogs. I have 10 goats. I got a pig. And trust me, you come up here, them goats will let me know you're here because they make some racket besides the dogs,
Yeah, so you can. It's just a difference. It's a totally different lifestyle. In some ways. The job's the same in some ways, but it's different in other ways. It's just a different lifestyle. But it's funny in New York. You get your car at every shift, and they don't show this on Blue Bloods. Well, it's because Blue Bloods also, remember, it's all in Manhattan. Manhattan is, everyone thinks in New York City, they think of Manhattan, but, Brooklyn is the most populous borough. Brooklyn has, I think, 2.4 million people in it, and Queens is like 2.2 million. So the majority of New York City really lives in Brooklyn and Queens, and then, the Bronx. Manhattan is just this financial center of the world, so everyone's in love with Manhattan. So, all the cop shows, they show Manhattan usually. But, those guys on the Blue Bloods, they're always like wearing their hats on posts and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and,
I hate them hats. I think they're stupid.
It's the dumbest thing. And I would tell so my cops, you have a lot of foot posts in New York City. Even I could give a cop 4 years on the job, and I'm like, oh, sorry, bro, you stand on a foot post. And even as a supervisor, sometimes you're all on foot at a parade or detail or whatever, but so you say, all right, so you stand on a foot post on a corner. You're standing right outside a housing project on the corner. You're wearing your hat. I would always tell my cops, do not wear the hat because you can't see airmail.
Yeah, it blocks it. It messes up your peripheral.
Stuff off the roof. Yeah, you can't see stuff above you, and that's like a serious safety issue. Also, if someone's taller than you, it affects how you see them. Above you, and at the end of the day, you got to chase someone, then you got to carry your hat in one hand, so you have one hand not free, and then you got to fight someone. We've had people. I remember we had a sergeant one time. His heart got stolen by someone who wasn't even involved in the fight, and then we got to worry about that. The hat is the most. It's an archaic thing. I understand if you say during a parade you want the cops to wear it, that's fine, but it's tactically it's not a good idea. And I would have we have all these people like this. They have them call them integrity control officers, and in the precinct there are a sergeant and a lieutenant. And so I said to my sergeant, I was like, "Hey, listen, don't be messing with my cops for not having the hat. I already told them I don't want them having the hat on the post. It's not safe." And he goes, "Well, I had to wear the hat when I was on a fixed post." I said, "You know what? You had to do a lot of things that maybe you don't have to do anymore. Don't worry about that. I'm worried about right now."
It's a hat.
It's a hat. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't. And it can only cause problems. And like I said, it does limit your vision above your head.
I actually didn't apply for the one department one time because they had them stupid hats. Somebody's like, "Well," I said they make them wear. I said they have them stupid looking hats. I'm not wearing that shit.
But we didn't actually wear the hats. The only times you would wear the hats if there was some higher up who as a detail or something. When you're doing patrol going to and from, you're not wearing the hat. They do that in the TV shows for whatever reason, but you're never wearing the hat.
No.
It's and if in Manhattan, I think they make them, but Manhattan's different. It's also Manhattan's a lot less, there's a lot less likely something's going to happen to you as a cop in Manhattan than versus, Brooklyn or, so it's it's more, Manhattan's more Times Square is like Disneyland now. It's not. I've
never been to New York. I had actually wanted to go at one point to see the Statue of Liberty and all that stuff like that. Right now, stuff would have to change a whole lot. I'm not going to step foot in the city. Now, my lieutenant, he's getting ready to go. Him and his wife and them go once a year. He loves it up there. I'm like, I'm not going up there because I didn't end up getting. I went to D.C. 2 years ago for Police Week, and that was the first time I'd ever been up there. And I was 50. I was 52 years old. That's the first time I ever rode public transportation in my life. You know.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. It's like, I mean, out where I live at. I mean, you didn't have public transportation. I mean, it's too rural. And I had they call it the metro, but it was underground and not underground. So it was, but to me, it was like a subway. And I was sitting down, and my buddy was sitting there, and it was getting crowded, and this lady walks in, and I looked at her, I said, "Here, ma'am, you can have my seat." And she's like, "I don't need nothing from you." I'm like, my buddy's like, they don't know what, you know, hospitality is. She's probably a feminist. I'm like, Jesus Christ, bitch, jumped down my side. I got up. Some gay dude took the seat. I'm like, well, you can have it then. Nice, you know, here. But I looked at her and I said, bitch, you know, I'm like, Jesus Christ, you know, it's like, then I was with one of the fans of the show. Her husband was a cop, and they came pick me up and showed me around. We're driving around. I seen people that were just flipping police off for just driving down the road. I'm like, this is just crazy. And the cops just driving down the road. I mean, he didn't even do nothing. And people are like flipping them off, and I was like, the hatred. I was like, well, where I come from, I mean, we're not loved by everybody, but you don't get that. So I can imagine how it is in New York.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that, like, you got to deal with it. It's like someone says, you know, F you. It's just like, okay. You know, like, it doesn't really matter. Even when you stop someone on the street for whatever reason, you stop them because you match the description. You stop them because you have they're drinking, whatever it is, whatever it is, or you make a try. Someone's, you know, cursing, this is bullshit. Your cops, you're all blah 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 blah. Okay, but just give me your ID. If he gives you his ID, he could keep cursing. Fuck you. You guys are a bunch of pussies. Okay. Give me your ID.
Yeah, words don't hurt me.
Doing what you tell him. Yeah, words are words. As long as he's doing what you tell him, I don't really care. It's just, you know, if someone's trying to hype themselves up to fight, it's different. If someone's like, you know, fuck you, and they start pacing around, that's not acceptable, because I'm telling you, stand in one place and keep your hands at your sides. You're not doing that. That's a problem. But you want to say you're a bunch of pussies, you know, why don't you stop? Someone's probably being murdered on the other side of the, you know, the city. Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm dealing with you right now. I can't deal with that right now. Or, you know, you stop someone. I'm sure you have this. You stop someone on traffic stop. It's like
catching real criminals, right? Catching a real.
You guys just ran that red light while you're talking to me. You know what? I can't stop them right now because I'm talking to you. I don't know what to tell you. Next time I'll get them. You know, like it's.
It's like, well, we got here stopping this. I'm a working man. You can be stopping real criminals. It's like I just look at them now. I'm like, I don't even respond, because I'm thinking I'm not going to try to explain to you how, you know, most serial killers and drug traffickers and rapists and child predators are caught during traffic stops than anything else. Ted Bundy was caught because of a traffic cop stop and stuff. I mean, so I'm not going to try. I don't try to explain it. I just let them bitch, you know, and just, you know, I hope, you know, you're going to get a free toaster with this ticket.
Yeah, no, and people make a big deal. It's like,
it's
you're
just
expected to work.
It's just a ticket.
You're working, you know.
Go to court, fight it. I don't care.
Yeah, it's like, I have a job too, but if you just ran 2 red lights, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you're having a job doesn't change that fact. Or you're drunk behind the wheel of the car doesn't. You know, you could kill someone just as easily as that rapist I should be stopping could kill somebody. You know, it's like, you know, it is what it is, you know?
Oh, yeah, people are, I could just see, like I said, New York, just so many people. And you said you worked in transit. When I was down there, I'd seen it on, I told my wife, she's never been nothing like that. I said, the first time I was there, I was like, them trains come in like really fast and there's no guardrail or nothing. I said, it's a little scary because you could just fall off in front of it that easy like that, and it don't show that on. But you don't get that experience on TV until you standing there and that thing comes speeding by you, and you're like, "Holy shit!"
You don't realize, like, because like I've been on the tracks, and so you know, like you have to stand behind. There's a yellow like on the ground. It's all yellow.
It's a line. It's a line on it.
Telling you, don't go past that until the train pulls in. Because number one, there have been people who gotten their ties caught in, I think that happened to Samuel L. Jackson when he was younger. He got his tie caught in the train, standing too close, and he got dragged. Luckily, he was all right. But you're probably not going to be all right if that happens to you. You know, and also if you get a crazy guy,
push you.
Yeah, like, I mean, and that's when the train is coming in. That's the most, and that train cannot stop fast. When we used to want to stop the train before it came in, we'd wave our lights like this back and forth to let it know to stop. But he's not stopping on a dime.
We have regular freight trains around here, and it's like it takes them half a mile to stop.
Yeah.
And they're only going
he's
about.
already run you over 4 times by that point, and I've seen people run over by train, and it's not.
Oh no, it's not pretty.
It's not, and and the other thing with on the transit system is like, you don't realize people drop their phone in the tracks and stuff. It's deeper than you think. The tracks, like, it looks like it's like 2 feet.
No.
It's like you go in there and it's up to your neck.
Yeah, it's like you're not just going to step out. Yeah.
Yeah, and when that train's coming fast, you're not at your best. You're starting to piss your pants, and that's when it's becoming hard to get out.
But the transit stuff, I don't understand how you see it on TV. You still see it on TV. People like jumping the turnstiles all the time. It's like, why y'all worry about $2 so much? Why y'all that poor? Y'all can't afford $2. Y'all got to steal a train.
This is the thing, right? A lot of guys who jump the turnstile, they have money on them. They could have hundreds of dollars on them. They're jumping the turnstile. It's crazy. It's just, there's some people who just, some people will will take every opportunity they can to get ahead and break the law. It means breaking the law. Some people are like that. They're just naturally like that. Now, your smart criminals, the guys who are really smart, they're not jumping the turnstile. But your idiot criminal who's been arrested 30 times, and a lot of this stuff probably is violent that he's been arrested for, he'll jump the turnstile. He's on parole. He's stupid. Instead of just trying to go to another station and try and find a cop to ask you to get in, which we used to do all the time. You want to, all right, I'll let you into the train. You're being nice. You're not causing any problems. I'll let you on the train, isn't it? But, they'll just do it. It's just, I can't explain it. It's just, it's one thing if a 16, 18-year-old kid jumps the turnstile, they're not a bad kid. You could, okay, don't do that again. But it's like, you're a career criminal, you're on parole, you're jumping the turnstile. When I stop you got to know that there's going to be consequences.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, let me ask you about this with like extra duty when you're off. Y'all should have a shit ton of that in New York.
What's different? You mean like, so they have different stuff. So you could have overtime that you do at the precinct, and you get there's so many parades and so many there's also like stuff going on in your precinct that you do
there's like private businesses that hire you for security and stuff like that.
There is something like that, but it's called paid detail. And so it's like it goes through the department, but let's say Bank of America has 8-hour slot for a cop to be in there by their ATMs, greeting people when they come into the bank. And then there'll be but it's like everything else in the NYPD. You have a detail sergeant, and the cops got to and they get paid directly by Bank of America. It's weird how it works, but
we have some that like we have a hospital. Now the hospital, they pay you separately, but they send once a week they send all the checks to the department. The captain, you'll hear the captain call, hey, the Oshner checks are in or something like that. Well, we have then we have overtime details with schools and all that stuff like that. I just figured New York was so big, you could probably work 7 days a week if you wanted to.
Well, yeah, I mean, and there's so many parades and stuff, but they have an overtime cap, so they don't want you to go over it. But I know, like, I was never signed to I was in Brooklyn most of my career, and then my last 6 years I was in South Jamaica, Queens. But in Manhattan, they get railed with it because they have so many parades. There's a parade like every day in Manhattan, so they're working a ton of overtime, and and everybody does, like around the West Indian Day Parade. You're gonna be working 2 days straight pretty much around, like, obviously New Year's, very rare. Even if you don't get the New Year's detail, then you could be in the gunfire suppression unit in your precinct, which gunfire suppression, I don't know if people that do this everywhere, but in a city, it's a problem when people go out of their apartments and start cranking rounds in the air because it's the new year, because they could be hitting someone on the 4th floor. So it's not like you're doing it in an open field. So we have those units. Do we usually stop people? No, because they go right back in there. But I mean, you have that. You have a lot of, there's always something going on in the precincts. You can have New Year's Eve is always busy. There's shootings. It's always busy. So you like all the holidays, you're always going to have like a lot of overtime and stuff like that. It's unavoidable.
My thing is I don't know what cops get paid there. I'm not going to ask you. Could you work there? It's none of my business. But I'm saying the cost of living there is so much.
It's high. It's like I'm in Boston now. I think Boston's even higher, to be honest with you. I mean, but yeah, the cost of living is high. But a lot of people don't live in the city though. Like, so if you live in Brooklyn or Queens, it depending on where you live, it could be just as high, almost as Manhattan nowadays. So a lot of people live on Long Island or move out to Long Island where it's a little cheaper. And I mean, you can get apartments. But once you like have a family stuff, it's hard to get unless you had the house before. It's hard to buy a house in New York City now. I mean, it's just
if you can afford it as a cop. I mean, it seems like I watch stuff on TV and it's like, they're showing like going to rent place. They'll show you an apartment. It's like 800 square feet and they want like 1,000 or 2,000 a month for it. And I'm like. It's like it's 800 square feet. It's.
No, you're gonna in New York City. Yeah, that's gonna be 1,500 a month at least. So
that's crazy.
I'm thinking what 800 square feet. You get a 1-bedroom apartment in New York City. The further you go east, usually the cheaper it'll be. The further you go towards closer to Manhattan, a lot of times the more expensive it will be. So if you're doing it in like Brooklyn Heights, which is very nice, very fancy, that would probably be 2 bedrooms. I assume it's like a 1-bedroom. I assume it's probably like close to 3 now over there. When I was living in Queens before I retired, I was paying about $1,500 a month for a 1-bedroom. But it just depends. I mean, the stuff is just more expensive. I mean,
I guess that's why you see a lot of them get these big city cops. Once they retire, they move to like Florida and stuff like that.
Yeah,
because you can pretty much live really good because you get paid more as like a New York cop than what you would make in like an area here. So you take your retirement, move to a cheaper place. I mean,
a lot of cops move to the Dominican Republic or like somewhere where it's like their money go. Like I know guys who have like compounds in other countries, like in Dominican Republic. Like I have a friend. He's Yemeni, former Marine. He was like he has like a compound out there. Like a lot of people have like but if you can do it, you can do it. The money's going to go a long way, but it depends where you want to live.
Yeah, I figured I was looking at some stuff one time in the Philippines. I could live like
yeah.
They think you're rich out there if you're making like $1,000 a month or something. It's like what? It's like
the only thing is, if you're the guy who's flashing all the money around, you're gonna have to have some security.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to. Yeah, because I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna get robbed every day. But it's like that's like out where I live in Louisiana. It's like right now, you could probably buy a half acre with a 15 to 1,800 square foot house on it for $250,000-$300,000.
Jesus Christ!
I mean, it's like me. It's like I have 5 acres. I have a 2-story brick house. It's not used, but it's like probably about 1,800. I have a very large metal building. I converted it into my own bar room. I have a single wide 3-bedroom, 2-bath trailer, which that's what I'm in now. I have my studio and stuff in it, and I have 5 acres. I couldn't imagine what that would cost up in New York or something.
Oh no,
right?
Millions of dollars. I mean,
it's crazy. It's like I think my place is probably worth about $450, maybe $500 at the most for everything.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's the housing is just crazy, and even after the housing crisis, for a while the prices went down a little bit, and then I would say by 2010, 2011, they were already back up. I mean, like. We would have even like, when I was in Bed-Stuy, I remember, after the housing crisis, you start to have more vacant houses and you would have people move in, like squatters and stuff like that. Now, sometimes you could, if you have an owner, you can arrest because, people think there's such a thing as squatters' rights when it's actually just tenants' rights. It's not actually squat. You can't break in a house.
It's mine.
There's no one while someone's on vacation, But like, so you had problems with that. But I mean, even by 2012, the prices were already starting to shoot back up so high. And then the banks even, what a lot of banks do is shady, especially after the housing crisis. So when the bank owns the property, they'll let it go to crap for years. And then they have people move in, and then it's hard to get them out if they've actually been there for years. And like, they'll let it go to crap, and then they'll try and sell it, and then all of a sudden they'll start fixing it up and like, we want these people out. And you're like, listen, I could have got him out a year ago, no problem. But he's
got to go through a whole eviction process.
You are Mr. Bank Guy. He's got a court order saying he could stay there. I can't overrule a court order, even though I know he doesn't. You know what I mean? And not for nothing, but we asked you 3 years ago to lock him up, and you didn't want to then. Yeah. So it's his house now until you get him out.
When you were there, were they doing the basically no bond stuff like they do now?
So my last year, so in 2019, I retired in September 2020, about like 8-9 months into COVID. I was towards the end of 2019 is when they started instituting it, but I think it took effect in 2020. But even you started seeing it because they started going with it even before it took effect. The no cash bail, it was supposed to be like, eliminating cash bail for most things. There was a difference. There was more people getting out right away than did before. But I would say this: New York City is so big. One precinct, like when I used to be on the midnight shift, I would walk in and I would have 25 people in my cells. Sometimes on a Saturday night, 38 people. That's my cells that we have to take them down to a central booking. And how many precincts are there in each borough? 10 precincts, whatever it is. I mean, think about the amount of people that are going through the system. And court runs from Monday through Sunday in New York City. Wow. So court runs not, you get arrested on a Friday night. Usually, and court runs till like, I don't know, 11, 12 at night. So it's like, the amount of people. So it was even back in like 2004, 2005, 2006, you'd call someone for, a parolee with a gun, with an illegal gun. The next day he's like, yo, hey, how you doing, officer? You see him the next day when you're standing at a foot post, or they come in the precinct the next day to get their property. It's like, it was always tough to get people in. We had guys who were, I remember this guy, he was one of the most wanted domestic violence suspects in the city, because they track these guys. Some of these guys, this guy, he's one of those guys who has like 6 different girlfriends. He's beating every single one of them, but he's such a catch apparently that he has the 6 girlfriends. But so, and he's been wanted for like a year and a half or whatever on multiple, and he's also a criminal. He also does robberies. He's also like a criminal besides the domestic violence. I wound up kicking his door in and collaring him. We had a reason to. I didn't violate his rights, so it was all legit. But we collared him, and we had to beg the judge. And he beats a different girl at least every week. Wow. And some of them were pretty bad ones where he was keeping them over. We had to beg the DA to make the judge, do like a $10,000 bail.
10 grand. That's it.
Yeah, or 50, it might have been 15.
Wow.
He went to Rikers for a little bit, but he got out. Someone bailed him out. But some of these judges think that these guys could never. I'll give him a $10,000 bail. He's never going to be able to make that. He doesn't have a job. Yeah, but they got family. These guys convinced their girlfriends to, these girlfriends to pay the bond. Now the girlfriend's going to be on the hook for it. I don't advise girls to do it, but all the time, you'll see that. You see beautiful girls who you're like, what are you doing here? And of course, I'm paying bail for my boyfriend. I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea, but
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I've talked about that in some other episodes. You see these beautiful young ladies, young girls that are dating these piece of shit criminals, and it's like, what the hell is wrong with you? It's like,
no, I was this guy who lives in a closet. He literally lived in a closet, and it was for robbing one of the girls, whatever. And I was banging on his door for like 5 minutes. He finally opened the door. Actually, he was pretty nice. Pretty cool with me. Was it? Guy had like 4 girlfriends. He just got out of prison like a couple weeks before. He's already got 4 girlfriends. He did. They were coming by the precinct, and He's already got 4 girlfriends. He literally lives, I shit you not, in a closet.
No money, no job, and these girls are just like, oh, I love you. It's like, well, what the hell? I don't get it. Except, I guess they like the bad boy persona or something.
Some girls like some girls don't know it, but some girls I really feel bad. And some of these guys don't take no for an answer. Some of these guys, the girl does try and get rid of them, and they're just such pieces of shit that they stalk them and they make their lives miserable. And the girls got kids. I get that, but some girls just make bad decisions too. I mean, like, you know, I mean, you know, I've had girls who I'm like, listen, you got to prosecute him now. Listen, we're telling you, we got to stay. You know, like, and I don't want him to get in trouble. I don't want him to lose his job. If he has a job, you know, I don't want him to lose his job, or, you know, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of times they take him back. And I just don't know what you know,
100 times.
I mean, like I said, sometimes I don't blame, sometimes it's really not their fault. I mean, it's still not their fault. The guy's just a piece of shit. It's just, you got to make better decisions. But like, you know, sometimes it's tough for girls, but sometimes you just like, I just don't understand it. Like, I don't understand why, you know, this guy's got 3 different, you know, they'll kick him out when they catch him cheating, but when they beat on him,
well, he said he's not going to do it again. Yeah, but that's what he told you the last 3 times I've been over here.
They know that he is. Yeah, and it's sad, but, you know, I've talked to some girls, just they grew up in that environment and they think that that's just what a man does. Like, some girls, like, and it's sad, but some girls really think that if I mouth off to him enough, I know I'm going to get punched and, you know, whatever. Or if I go through his phone because I'm, you know, I know he's texting other girls, he's going to get mad. And, you know, like, and it's sad.
Maybe so. Maybe they grew up in a bad environment. I can't stand any man that puts his hand on a woman.
No, it's a piece of shit who does
just
it.
total. I have those down there with pedophiles to me. Is you just don't do that. It's been longer than pretty sure statute of limitations done run out. But when I was a young cop, my training guy, thank God, he saved me probably from going to jail. We had been to a house in this bad area, the trailer park. We got there, and this dude had beat the holy hell out of his wife. The kid was there in front of the kid. When we were there, I heard movement. I went around the back of his trailer, and he had trying to come out the back. And when he saw me, he went back in. Well, they had no stairs on this trailer. Of course, I was in my 20s. I jumped up in his trailer. I ended up, cutting my leg getting in it because I had to jump. It was a good chest high, so it was a good 4 feet off the ground or 6. But I jumped in the back of. By the time my partner got in there, this was way back in the day. When you probably remember the big mag lights, like 8 D-cell batteries. I mean, they're like 4.5 feet long, you know. Yeah. I had one of those. He grabbed my arm, thank God, because I had pinned that dude down on the ground, and I was in the process of swinging this mag light down on his head when he grabbed my arm and stopped me and said, "Don't do it," because I was about to. I'd have probably ended up in prison because they'd probably killed him because I was getting ready to bash his brains in. Because this woman looked like Rocky Balboa in the first movie. Both her eyes were swelled shut. You hear me? I was so angry. I've learned how to control myself since then. But he did say, "Mike, I know you're still out there." And he saved me from going to jail that night because I was gonna do that person some extreme bodily harm to let him know how it felt.
Cheers to him. Yeah, I mean, luckily your partner.
Yeah, thank God he was there at that time. Like I said, hey, I'm not perfect, never claimed to be, but that's why you have good people that are working with you that stop you from doing stupid shit.
Oh yeah.
But
especially like sometimes you get guys who just, you look at what they did and it's just horrible what they did to the girl. The girl's just horrible, and then they're just calm as the day.
He acts like it's her fault. He's trying to blame her for it.
Just calm as the day is long, and they just, you almost like, I wouldn't even mind it if he did fight. You know? Like just up. No,
well, I'm sure you've had the calls where, like, well, my thing with domestic. I mean, I've been on calls before. I'm like, God, I wish this dude would just swing on me, please. I mean, I was like, please swing on me, and because
it's like that with the pedophiles too. I've called guys who either tried to have sex with their kids or did or whatever, just horrible, like pieces of shit, right? And like a lot of times they're just like,
Oh yeah. Well, now, yeah. Chris Hansen's been in our
like,
area a lot lately, believe it or not.
But yeah, but that's what people don't understand. It's like they think cops are all like, cops worry about petty stuff, but it's like, if I get someone who's a child molester, right, and he's a piece of shit. We don't like child molesters. Nobody likes child molesters. No. So I tell him, turn around, put your hands behind your back, and he does it. I'm just gonna put the cuffs on. Yep. That's it.
Even
nothing I can do.
Nothing you do.
I get somebody, but if you get somebody who, for a minor offense, like he's drinking a beer in public or he just ran a red light, and you're just saying, listen, I just need your ID, and he goes, no. Is that a serious crime? He just said no, but he's making it serious to the point where he starts trying to walk away. At some point, you're gonna have to try and use force on him.
At that point, people don't realize that is. I had to explain. I actually explained to somebody, and they actually understood, a civilian, because they were watching this video. It's like, well, they didn't do this. I said it's called. I said, if I tell you to legally do something, I can tell you to do. Like, give me your driver's license, and I have a legal right to. I'm investigating this with you, and you refuse. That's called passive resistance. You don't have to be physically doing something to resist. You're resisting at that point. Just because somebody's like, you see it all the time. They're hollering, I'm not resisting, the whole time they're resisting. I said, you refuse, locking your arms in front of you while you're on the ground. That's resisting.
That's resisting arrest. Yeah, no, but they're playing for the cameras. Everyone always plays for the cameras now, It just, I've had guys who, like, we've been walking, and they're like, you're choking me, when no one can see, you're choking me. I'm like, our hands aren't even anywhere near your neck. Well, we're just walking you into the precinct. People do that now. It's like the new,
Well, at first when they came out with the body camera, I was like, I don't want a body camera, because I felt like y'all don't trust me enough that y'all think y'all got to watch everything I do. Now, I'm like, oh, I love the body cameras, because now the body cameras has saved more policemen than all the Black Lives Matters and all these activist groups that were hollering wanting cameras for, now they're regretting it, because 99.9% of the times now it shows, hey, the cops are doing everything they can do to try to diffuse a situation, and the other people are escalating it. So thank you. The cameras have saved more cops than they've hurt.
No, I was once in court, and it was soon. We had the body cameras for my last year and a half in New York, right? And I was with the DA, and this defense attorney new came in, and he's like, "So how are you liking these new body cameras?" And she's like, "I hate them. I have to tell everyone to plead guilty."
Yeah,
I think defense attorneys, I think they honestly thought, or they might have honestly thought, that cops just lie all the time.
Yeah,
I think that they really thought that.
I really think a lot of people thought that we just made shit up.
And then we just lie all the time, like that. They don't believe that you get someone. What happened? Oh, I punched her because she was fucking going through my phone. They don't believe people would say that, or they don't believe you say, what happened? No, I didn't rob the guy. Look, I lent him money a couple weeks ago. And so, he didn't want to give it to me, so I punched him, then went through his pockets and took the money. I'm like, well, that's robbery. But they don't believe people would say that stuff. And now with the body cameras, people see. The only thing I have with body is you got to accept the fact that you're not seeing everything that
it don't give you everything, but it gives you a good view there. I mean, look how many cops it saved. They say, oh well, he didn't have a gun. Well, it showed him on camera, with a gun in his hand. People don't say, well, he shot him in the back. Well, if you're running from me, but you still turn like this and point a gun at me, you're going to get hit in the back. I mean, it's just saved a lot. Speaking of taser, I'm not a big taser fan. I'm certified on it. I don't carry it. I still use I use Freeze Plus P. My thing is the taser only works 40% of the time.
Well, the thing, tasers, is if someone's wearing a thick jacket, it's probably not going to work. And you gotta get them good. You gotta get both darts in, so it's a one-shot pony. So if someone's charging you with a knife, it's not a good thing to use a taser, because if you miss, if you only get one dart in and he's 5 feet away, he's gonna. So you have to do it when the situation is appropriate. But and you have to make sure you get them. Anytime I used it, I got them because I only used it when I was sure pretty much that I could get the guy, like, but I will say that, the taser is something, it has its limitations.
It's a good tool. It's a good tool, but I believe now, my opinion is on it is too many of the newer breed cops rely too much on the taser.
I agree.
And I think it's getting people hurt and stuff like that, because I've seen situations in person, and like I said, I watch a lot of the body cam videos because of the podcast stuff, and it's like this dude has a knife. Why do you have your taser out?
Yeah.
That's like,
I mean, it's one thing if he's just got the knife and he's held it at his side, and you'll be around and you can do it. But it's if he's charging you at that point, that's like deadly force. It is what it is. I mean,
it's like I just seen too many have just rely too much on the taser now.
No, I agree, and you have to be able to. I remember one time we find this he's a big fat guy, right? And we're fighting him, and he just hurt a kid actually. Anyway, so someone wound up grabbing his leg. We took him to ground, and we went to citizen complaint review board for it because we collared him. We collared his wife. His wife spat at one of my cops. She was bad. She fought the cops too. But anyway, so when we go to this guy's asking me, he's like, well, what happened? Because it goes for a force, whatever. I don't know if you guys have something like that, but it's like New York has what's called a civilian complaint review board. They've had it since the late 60s.
We do not have that, thank God. Yeah.
Well, anyway, so I'm talking to and now listen, I never had a substantiated complaint my whole career. I was always there to explain to them, like if you explain to them, but it is kind of because I'm trying to tell this guy, he's like, what happened? I'm like, well, he's a big guy, we're trying to cuff him up. We weren't able to get, both hands, so somebody took his leg out. He's like, what do you mean? I mean, like, he took his leg out from under him. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, when somebody's standing up and they're distracted, sometimes the best way to take them down is to take their legs out, swoop in, take their legs out, and they fall down. Especially a big guy like that, but he's going to fall down with his legs. He's like, I still don't understand how he did it. I was like, I don't know how I could explain this to you. Just like he did. So he's like, okay. So finally I get it through his head how it was done. So then he goes, why didn't you just tase him? And I said to him, well, I think he was wearing a jacket. But I said to this kid, I said, listen, do you understand how much more painful tasing, how much more traumatic it is to be tased than even punched in the face? I'd rather get punched in the face than have 50,000 volts of electricity shot through my body.
Then you got to pull the fish hooks out of you, too.
Yeah, and they got to pull the fish hooks out of you. I had one guy who was charging us. He was facing the wall. He just broke like a marble counter. I don't know how he did it. It was like, but we get down to his basement. He's standing with his back to the wall. He's got his hands in front of him, so we don't know if he's got like a hammer or knife, anything on him, and he's totally naked. And one of my cops starts getting too close. I pulled them back. Sure enough, the guy charges at me. Luckily, I had the taser out. Now, if he had a knife and I didn't get the taser in, probably he would have got me, because like the what situation. But I got him like one of the hooks. He never made a complaint about it, but allegedly went in one of his testicles, right by it. Anyway,
Ow.
And but it didn't actually get him. But he was actually sport about it. He never he wasn't complaining, but he understood why we did what we had to do. But he was high on K2. K2 really screws people up.
Oh yeah.
Marijuana, but like so anyway, so he afterwards, so they got mad at us because when we had uses of force at this point, NYPD used to not have to do use of force reports, but then we had to do them starting around 2015, we had to do use of force reports. So this sergeant was always complaining to us that me and my guys that if we weren't taking pictures on the use of force reports, and we'd be like, if there's no injuries, why are we taking pictures? So so one of my cops is like, yo, Lieutenant, we got to take a picture. I said, listen, man. I said, all right, fine, I don't care. So he takes a picture with cell phone of the guy's dick, his penis, like
send
right
it
there.
in.
And it wasn't an erect penis, and he wasn't in his best moment. I'll give him that. So I don't want to judge, right? So anyway, then, you should have seen the face. The sergeant comes out. It's like, Lieutenant, what's it? Why would you put this? You put this on the computer because they wrote it onto the computer. I was like, you told us you wanted pictures.
Yeah,
right?
what do you want?
Control world, they're going crazy. I said, listen, They said they wanted pictures. I don't care. Well, you think I wanted to see this guy's dick? I could have gone without it, but like I had to see it anyway. So what does it matter? But like I'm like, so they were going crazy about it. But it's like, you know what? Make up your mind.
That's what you asked for. You wanted pictures. I gave you the damn pictures, not bitches.
Yeah. It's like you know, make up your mind. I don't know what to tell you. Like, but it's funny because like you know they when they first determined this use of force thing. I know when I was in LAPD. From my whole time that they always did use of force reports. But New York, like I said, we just had to check on an arrest up till about 2014. If you use force, you have to check, yes, force used. Then they said, no, that's not kosher. You got to use of force reports. But obviously, you're not going to do use of force reports for certain things. Like if you just grab a guy and yoke his arm and put the handcuffs on him, that's not a use of force, you know. But then you have these inside people being like, well, he said he didn't want to go to jail, and then you grabbed him. I'm like, I understand if I throw him to the ground, that's the use of force. And because the use of force, they document them, and no matter what anyone says, they're going to say, why do you have 20 uses of force and he has none? And it's like, well, I've been out in the street. I've made 200 arrests in that time, and he's made 0. So he has 0 use
because
of
I've been working. That's why.
Yeah. I mean, but people don't want to hear that. You know, the people who have the most perfect record.
They never did their job. They didn't do their job.
Yeah, and their records are perfect. I'll give them that. But
let's say if you have 0, well, I've never had a civilian complaint. You didn't. What were you doing? Sleeping? Because if you're out doing your job, you didn't do nothing. My thing is y'all had to deal with civilian review boards. I always say that's like putting me on a civilian review board to go over a heart surgeon's job after he did it. Guess what? I don't know shit about heart surgery. But you're going to put me on a review board on it. To me, that's what civilian review boards are. It's a bunch of people that don't know how to be cops.
No. It's true. And they don't know. And a lot of them aren't from New York City even. We had this, I would always like I had that guy with the, you know, but I would always just like try and just, I would be like, I'm pleading a case. And, you know, so I was always good. Like I never had a substantial complaint. I know this one guy, he was the anti-crime sergeant in the 7-3, very busy precinct. And he was telling me he had a thing one time where I forget what it was. It was, I think a shot might have been fired, but I'm not sure whatever by one of the cops. I'm not really sure. But he goes to the civilian complaint review board. Maybe they did it. Internal Affairs investigates one part, civilian complaint review board investigates the other part. That happens sometimes. And he says, so he goes to the girl who's investigating, this like 22-year-old girl. He's like, well, I was in the median of the road. And she's like, what's the median? And he's like, the median of the road.
The middle
and she's
part.
like, I don't understand what the median is. And he goes back and forth for like 5 minutes. I wouldn't have done this because I know I would have done this if I wasn't in there. But so he goes, how the fuck do you not know what the median is? How the hell are you going to investigate us if you don't know what the median of a road is? Do you understand what a crosswalk is? And he starts going off, but they had to take him out.
It's like, but, are you this stupid? How do you breathe?
You have well, just like that kid who I couldn't understand. He couldn't understand how you could take someone's like it's like, you know, I get it, but you know what? I'd rather civilians who don't know the job than police officers who don't know the job interviewing me, guys who've been inside their whole career investigating me,
pushing paper.
They don't know either. You know what I mean? So like it goes both ways. I mean,
they got some stupid people out there. Y'all, I know y'all probably didn't do it in New York, but anyway, out here and stuff, we still unlock cars and shit with like Slim Jims and stuff. So you got to be persistent. Yeah. So they sent me. This was about 6 years ago. They sent me to unlock a car, and I pull up, and this lady comes out, and she's like, "Oh my." You know, I'm like, you locked your keys in? I'm looking. She's standing there. I'm like, well, what's that in your hand? She said, these are my keys. I'm like, okay. I said, what you need me to unlock it for? My key fob is dead, and I can't get in the car. I said, can I see your keys a second? And she gave me her keys, and I stuck it in the door and unlocked the door and handed it back to her. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. I felt like slapping her with her keys and saying, go inside. You are not allowed to drive ever again in your life. You should. Yeah, what do you think that whole? I put the key in. It's like, yeah. Wants me to unlock her car so she can use her key to start it that she had in her hand. Okay.
Some people, you don't understand how you doubt evolution sometimes, like survival of the fittest, because I'm like, I don't know.
It's like,
you know, like, I don't know how. Yeah.
How many times your mom dropped you on the head as a child?
Yeah. How many times you dropped on your head? Because, like, I mean, you have people like that who just, like, you don't understand how they even live. And you have people sometimes, too, like guys who are just so, like, and they're in a busy area. Oh, but let me ask you this. Do you guys have, like, most of the stolen cars now? Like, back in the day, you could steal the old Toyotas and Hondas with, like, a screwdriver or, like, with anything, right? But now, it's very hard to steal. So we would have, and even that, I know they have it in Boston too. Like the way people's cars are always stolen now. All these idiots leave their engine running and the car unlocked and run in the store.
Yeah, that's how we usually get ours that are stolen, or they leave the keys in it.
Yeah,
but I mean, they're not just hot wiring cars. It's not like gone in 60 seconds or nothing like that.
No, they can't do that. You can't do it with these cars anymore. You used to be able to break the steering column and you push one thing down, and
now
you can't.
All the LPRs, we got a lot of LPRs around in all the parishes. I mean, we can track you down the interstate usually. Like, they went here, because you put the number in the system and it just starts going up. So it's a lot harder now.
Technology like video cameras. I always tell people, like, if it wasn't for video cameras, these last like 10 years when they begin prevalent more and more and more and more, the crime rate will be so much higher because so many people you catch.
Well, in New York, there's probably damn cameras everywhere.
There is, but you'd be surprised. There's plenty of spots where there aren't, but like people have doorbell cameras. The doorbell cameras, like, I mean, and like a lot of bodegas and stuff, they have cameras. The corner stores, but yeah, I mean, it's gotten more and more. Manhattan is like, I think it's becoming almost like England. England, like London, they say is like London is like the police, like they have cameras everywhere. Yeah. I think Manhattan is getting, because I have a buddy of mine. He worked in the this unit. He was a sergeant, and they handled the cameras in Manhattan. And he said they just had stuff all over the place, and I think they could get into private cameras too. So it's like it's very it's a lot easier. You still have to do the regular police work. You still got to knock on doors. You still got to talk to people. But like, it has made things a lot easier with all the cameras. I do think, though, like you were saying with the tasers, some of these new guys and some of these newer detectives, some of them rely too much on technology where, a lot of it is, like, it's always better if you can catch the person right away, like before you even have to go to the video camera, and like, it's always better, and they're a great tool, but, you also have to do the basics too, the bread and butter stuff. But yeah, I mean, but with the camera stuff, but the LPRs, you guys, then they just take a picture of every car they pass, right?
Every license that we got, got them mounted on poles. They're you don't even see them, and every car that passes it registers, it reads the license plate. Like if you're in if it's stolen, if you're in a stolen car and it's been put in NCIC, you can be you be in another state. If you drive past one of them cameras and it's in NCIC, it's gonna read it and alert right then and there and say, okay, we got a stolen car that just passed right here. So, the stolen cars we do get, we're like, okay, it passed right here. All right, and then we'll wait. Sometimes if you don't find it, we'll wait. And like we had one recently we got from another area, but it was passing the same time every day. Somebody was driving it to work. So we just sat there and waited for it. I mean, but they've solved it. I mean, it's great for like drive-bys and stuff like that. And as long as they don't take the plates off. But a lot of times they don't know where the cameras are. They're not big. They don't flash. You don't even know they done took a picture of you.
Yeah, you don't even realize you got caught.
They use a lot of it with drug trafficking on the interstates. I mean, not just us, but Mississippi, all these states and stuff have them, and they'll these cameras actually with the intelligence stuff they have now with them, it'll start. That's why they use rental cars a lot, because if you're using a regular car, their personal car, it starts registering. It's like, look, this dude every month he's making a trip from Texas to Florida, because that's the pipeline, Texas to Florida. And it's like, this same car is coming by here, 12 times a month. That's a little ridiculous. And it'll flag it. It'll flag that license plate. saying, "Hey, y'all might want to check this out. This dude's doing something that this."
He's stupid too for not changing his plate.
Well, I said, now they use a lot of rental cars and stuff like that, and so they kind of figured that out. But
well, you should just go. Texas is still doing, as of 5 years ago, Texas is still doing those temp tags, right? The temp plates, right?
Oh, we still have them on new cars, yeah.
Well, you could just go to Texas. People were doing it in New York and get a Texas temp tag, and no insurance, no registration. They would just pop it on for 30 days, and it was like Texas will give anyone a.
That's the pipeline, though. Big truck pipelines from Florida to Texas back and forth. I think westbound is money, eastbound is drugs. So if you're going from Texas usually to Florida, I think it's the drugs or something. I'm not sure. It's one of the ways. One of the ways it's usually doing the money, and the other one they're doing the drugs. So
in your area, it's a lot of like heroin now, or
that's, I think, more fentanyl and stuff. But we hadn't had a couple of years ago, man, we were fighting it real bad. We were having people dropping dead like crazy, ODing like crazy, and they really, department I work for really cracked down. I think we got most of them, so it's not as bad as it was. But
they're also developing resistance, because I didn't deal with the fentanyl. I started dealing with a lot when I was working around Boston, and like everything, the meth, they're smoking meth laced with fentanyl, crack laced with fentanyl, but they're developing resistance too, because a lot of these guys have been Narcan like 30 times. So like they could smoke fentanyl now, but me or you got a breath of that in our lung.
We had I had a guy run off the road in a ditch the other day, and it was about a month ago. We had to medical got there, and they had to hit this dude 10 times with the Narcan to bring him back, because he was like we thought he was dead. But it took they ended up hitting him like 10 times.
Yeah,
I mean, because he was a dope head. He'd been Narcan and so many times and all that stuff like that. It's ridiculous.
This guy was trying to tell me, "Oh, you're not doing it right." I'm like, "No, I've done it, and I've seen the EMS guys do it, and they have started doing. Sometimes you have to do it like 6 times now. It used to be they pop right up. You did it once, they would pop right. Now it's just they have such a resistance, and they've done so much fentanyl now that it's like."
Oh, I was videoing the guy with my phone. There's medical sitting there, and they were hitting him. I was sitting there videoing, and I'm like, yeah, this dude's. He don't think he's gonna make it. And all of a sudden, bang! He went from dead to sitting straight up, just like that, like on the 10th hit. Because I'm like, we're hitting him again. It's like he's not getting up, and it's like, wow! But he did. He come to. It's like people, civilians don't. You can see stuff on TV all you want. It's nothing until you actually experience stuff in real life. You can watch all the stuff you want on TV. It's different.
But they don't understand. Like sometimes when you Narcan someone, they're not thanking you for saving my life.
No, they're pissed off
because you ruined their high, and now they want to fight. And sometimes you got to go to the hospital. No, I don't want to go to the hospital. And then you want to
because they want to go get more drugs because they're pissed off because you messed their high up. Mm-hmm. And now they need to go get high again. I mean, we had one guy this guy crashed his car, and I went and checked for a pulse, and before medical got there, I'm like, oh, this dude's dead. I find out that's why I'm not a doctor. So I went to help the other people. I'm helping the other people that he hit, and because they were hurt too. We were getting them out, and the ambulance stuff got there. Fire department got anywhere. They said, "What about that guy?" I said, "Oh, that guy's dead." And they went over there and checked him anyway. We're kind of find out he wasn't dead. He was in the process of dying because he was ODing, and they Narcaned him back. They got him back. I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm not a doctor and I'm a cop, but because I pronounced him dead.
That's why cops don't pronounce. That's why only EMS, doctors can pronounce. That's why.
So they loaded him up in the boo-boo bus, and they pulled up at the emergency room and opened up the back door, and he took off running. Did I lose you?
He took off, yeah.
But he took off running. I was like, I'm not going to chase him. I'm not going to chase him. He's running from some more drugs, but he took off running. Yeah, it's like.
It's different. It's like some of these guys, like the crazy people or the people who so a lot of times, like once you tell them, you make them go to the hospital, it's like they're kind of in your custody until you're responsible to them until they get to the hospital, but and that's a bit, like, so, but especially if you're working alone, there's nothing you could do. You got to just follow the ambulance to the hospital. You can't have someone riding.
Y'all up there, and of course, Baton Rouge has a pretty good homeless problem, but not probably like y'all have in New York. The unhoused, but no, they're homeless. I made a comment today in the thing they were talking about people. I'm like, somebody said something about homeless on this news app or whatever I was on. I was like, what y'all don't understand is the majority of these homeless people choose to be homeless. They have family they don't want to stay at. They don't want to stay in shelters because they can't drink and do drugs. Y'all understand? They choose to be homeless. And you can't force these people to go to rehab because they don't want to be rehabbed. That's what y'all don't understand. You have the homeless people. It's like they choosing to do that.
Yeah. And the rehab, like, it's like some people, that's why people say, it's like, at some point it's got to end. It's like, say, why are you arresting this guy? Just he has some heroin on him. I get it. It's like, but somebody got to learn eventually, because like, if you're constantly doing drugs and then committing crimes to pay for the drugs, and also when you get high, you're acting crazy and hurting people just for no reason, it's like, eventually there's got to be consequences. I mean, to your actions. And, eventually, if you're not willing to go in a drug rehab program, I mean, I don't think you're a victim. I get it. Anyone could have an issue, but it's like, eventually you got to take the help that you're offered. Like you're saying, Well, you were in law enforcement. If you remember when we went through the crack epidemic, how bad that was. And then my thing was recently when they did the whole opioid thing with all, the Lortabs, hydrocodone, they cracked down on that. And they were like, oh, yeah, we're going to get all these people off of this and stuff like that. I'm like, y'all don't realize what y'all did is all y'all did was make a bunch of pill heads. Now they're doing heroin. That's when the heroin epidemic really took off, is when they made it so hard to get the pills. All y'all did was make them switch over to something else. And now, like you said, it's not even about the heroin anymore. It's more about the fentanyl, because and I don't know if you've seen this there, but like it used to be that like someone was a crackhead, they did crack. Yeah. Someone was a heroin addict, they did. Now these heroin addicts, they smoke meth, they smoke crack,
anything they get their hands on.
They have weed. Like I've gotten guys who had freaking heroin, crack, meth, and weed on all of it, and it's all laced with fentanyl. It's like, how are you gonna get someone like that better? I don't know.
Well, like I tell people this because there are people that have went through rehab and have turned their lives around. Mm-hmm. Thank those great. I support those people 100%. Unfortunately, that's not the norm. Okay, I've lived through it. I was married at one point to a person. That's the reason we got divorced, because she happened to get addicted to pills, and I paid to go to rehab 4 times. I fought, and it's like she'd get out, do good for a while for no reason whatsoever, because I gave her a very good life. She wasn't living on the streets or nothing like that. And the next thing I know, she was on drugs again. And finally, I couldn't do it no more. She's going to cost me my career. She ended up getting, and some people, I don't know if they believe it, is drug-induced psychosis, where she actually became a paranoid schizophrenic because she had done so many drugs through the years. It ended up making her into a paranoid schizophrenic. I thought I had to get rid of her. I thought she was going to kill me or something. And it's bad, but it's like the majority of people are never going to get better. That's why I try to explain to them. I do the best they can, but NA, all them meetings, I've done all that stuff with her and stuff like that. I've been to. It's like some people it's a revolving door. It never stops 90% of the time, and you're going to lose.
Yeah, it's very tough, especially when they have so many different things, and especially that they're addicted to, and it's like, like you said, it's very tough, and it's like, then you say, okay, well, they should be able to get housing, but still be able to do drugs while they're living in the housing. But I don't know about that. That's kind of like, what about the family who's staying in some crappy shelters? Shouldn't they get that housing?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
versus a single male career criminal who's also happens to be a drug addict. Maybe the family, the single mother and the 3 kids could get that.
well, did y'all have? I don't know if New York, I know California, some of them like safe injection sites and stuff like that. We don't have that here.
Talking about doing that when I was leaving, but I can't answer that if they have.
But that's just crazy. Just crazy to me.
It's the dumbest thing. It's the dumbest thing in the world. And look, and I'm not a right-wing person. I'm personally I'm a Democrat. I guess I'm a tough on crime Democrat.
Well, I kind of figured that when the other one you had said you wanted to donate to Green Day. I figured that.
Green Day. But I don't understand. I mean, when people say, I don't get it when people just don't want to look at what is, you know what I mean? Versus it's so sad. I get it, but at the same time, with the needle sites, it's just insane because you're enabling them.
Yes.
And not only that, but what they do in Massachusetts, what they do in the Boston area, and I've seen this. So in New York, they don't do this, but the first guy I stopped in Boston, right, he's got 50 needles on him. I'm like, you can't have these needles. I'm taking the needles off him. I'm like, you can't have all these needles on you, bro. He's like, what are you kidding me? They hand them out like candy. And then I realized that they give them
clean needles.
They'll give them a stack of 50 needles.
Wow.
Now I get not safe injection sites, but I get if a addict comes in and says, here's a dirty needle, give me a clean one. I get that. That's fine because you're taking a dirty needle off the street and you're trying to prevent disease. However, they don't even make them turn in the clean ones. So what if you're giving them all these needles? What incentive does he have not to drop that needle in a park or a playground?
They do.
And they do.
They just had they showed it was they were cleaning up a homeless area recently out here in Baton Rouge. They had pictures posted and the amount of needles that were on the ground, and it's not like they don't recap them. Even to be, they just dry. They don't care, and it's like in California you've seen it's like zombie land in some of these places because of the fentanyl lean. I mean, they just standing up, leaned over like a bunch of zombies and stuff. People don't realize how bad this stuff is. And
no, it is. And if a little kid steps, or a kid, or adult, whoever, someone steps on one of those needles, I get it. You're probably not going to get AIDS from the needle or anything, but you get a little bit of fentanyl in there, you could just drop dead right there. And if you're not Narcan right away, you're going to die.
Well, somebody like you or me, I mean, I don't do drugs at all. I'm pretty sure you don't. I mean, no. Just a millimeter, just a size dust thing of fentanyl gets in my system. It's gonna, if I'm not it's gonna take me out.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. That's why it scares me. A lot of people using street drugs and stuff like that. I mean, these younger people that go just. You can't go on the street and just buy Adderall or something like they used to before because these people are pressing their own pills and they're adding this shit to it.
Yeah, it's really scary. I mean, and especially when you have that thing that can kill you so easily. It's not like, it used to be you handling drugs. Let's say you whiff something, maybe you get a little high and then you'd have to be like, I think I have to leave.
Yeah.
I'm a little high, whatever. But now it's like you could die.
This ain't like Miami Vice, I'm not Crockett and I'm like, take the, oh yeah, that's cocaine right there. Yeah, we don't taste the drugs to see it.
You die, yeah. That's like all those shows, like Blue Blood. I always tell people Blue Bloods, it's not, all these shows are not, realistic.
Well, it's all TV. I don't watch it, but when they had Live PD, and I think they got now with whatever it's called now, because they're actually in Baton Rouge with them now, On Patrol Live or whatever they have.
Oh, really? That's cool.
But it's I don't watch it because it's like watching work, but it's like they follow the cops around live. But they don't show you that because they only do it for a certain amount of time. They don't show you at the end of the shift. They got to catch up on all this paperwork. I mean, none of these shows, even when they had cops and stuff, they show you when they had to go do all the paperwork. everything they do, they have to go write reports on later.
My brother always said to me, because I would always complain to him about these police shows. He's like, Dave, if you ever made a police show, it would be they'd get in a foot chase at the beginning of the shift, and then the whole rest of the show would be them doing paperwork at the station.
They'd be sitting somewhere, you know. It's like, what are you doing? Writing this report.
Yeah, it's like when sometimes you finish the shift and you have like 3 or 4 reports to do, and you've already done your whole shift. You know, it's like
yeah. Especially some of it make you can't leave till all your reports are done. You know, so they don't see that. It's like a lot of them shows. Like my son-in-law is a firefighter full time, and my stepson's a full time firefighter. I'm outnumbered, yes, but it's like you see like Chicago Fire and all stuff like that. They're like saving people every day. I'm like, yeah, it's not really like that. They're at the station playing Xbox and cooking.
They have a lot.
It's like they do get into stuff, but they're not doing that every day. Not every day. Maybe New York, but not every day. They're not doing that. So
yeah, I mean, even in New York, they're not doing it every day. They're good though. I mean, they have to deal with a lot of big buildings, you know. So they're good at what they do.
I got tall buildings. As a cop, how many of them buildings y'all had to go to that the elevators didn't work or didn't have it? I'd be like pissed. I'm like, what floor are they on?
Yeah. Because even like outside of, like I said, I didn't work in Manhattan, but even outside of Manhattan, we'd have like some buildings, we'd have some project buildings that would be like 16, 17 floors. Usually if a building's that big, it'll have the 2 elevators, but you know, you never know. But there could be a building 4, 5 floors, 6 floors, and the building's out. Sometimes both elevators would be out and you got to walk and it sucks.
That would be horrible.
And it's like, but you know, think about the residents of that place. You know, they have to work because they got to walk up and down. You know, I got to do it once and I'm bitching about it, but you know.
They're doing it every day.
Yeah.
Or going grocery shop. Well, I don't understand why they call them bodegas. We just call them convenience stores.
Yeah, I don't know why we call it bodegas. Some places they call them corner stores. In New York, they call bodegas, and then convenience stores. And it's like, I don't know. It's like everyone has their own name for it.
It's just like I guess it's like a convenience store, like we have. You know, I guess
it's the same thing. It's a convenience store. Bodega is a convenience store. It's like it's not like we wouldn't call 7-Eleven a bodega. What do you mean by it? It's also like a personally run. It's not part of a big chain or corporation, you know. And
like we got Circle K's and stuff like that. That'd be like y'all 7-Eleven.
Yeah, I mean, there's 7-Elevens in New York.
No, we don't have 7-Elevens. I'm saying we have Circle K's.
Oh, Circle K's.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have we have no 7-Elevens right here. We have Circle K's and
really okay.
Yeah, we had one when I was growing up 100 years ago. That was it, and it's been gone. So yeah, we got Circle K's, and then we have some like personal ones, like some, I think they call them Best Stops. They're run by the people that wear turbans on their head, being nice. They've always been polite to us, and they're very cop friendly. But they own a lot of them around here. But they call them Best Stops. And we have Circle K's, but we have lots of Dollar Generals, like lots of Dollar Generals, like every half mile almost. It seems like.
Yeah, but you still get shoplifters from the dollar store, the 79-cent stores. I'm like,
why would you? I was like, I'm not going to risk going to jail. I'm not going to risk going to jail stealing from the dollar store.
I know, like at least steal something good, right? It's like
if I'm going to go to jail, I'm going to try to steal something good. I'm not. What'd you get jail for? Yeah, I hit the dollar store. Couldn't, I mean, what are you doing?
So, yeah, no, it's crazy. Like, but sometimes people don't understand. Like if let's say it's the CVS and they stole a freaking candy bar. Normally, it'd be like, all right, listen, I'll give you the money for the candy. But it's like they say this guy comes in every day and he steals every day. This day we caught him, he stole the candy bar, but he's been stealing every day this week, and we keep telling him not to come in. Oh well, he's gonna get locked up. It is what it is. I mean, people say, how could you lock someone up for stealing a candy bar? He's not
because he stole 400 candy bars.
Yeah. Because he's stolen 400 candy bars, and this is one we caught him on, and they want to press charges. And he's also been breaking into cars and breaking into buildings all throughout the area. But this is what we get him on because it's hard to get victims who are willing to prosecute, victims who can go to court, and then they go to court, and then they're told, oh, the case isn't going today, and they got to come back to court, and they got to take off work. It's easier when it's just a cop who has to come.
Yeah.
And the secure store manager who wants to press charges, it's easier. It's an easier case, you know?
Yeah, well, like I have people, I'm a traffic cop, and they be like, I'm going to fight you in court. I'm like, okay. I'm like, what am I supposed to be scared? But my thing is, I'm like, you don't realize. It's like, I don't tell them, but I said, you don't realize. I win either way. Oh, what do you mean? Well, let's say I get paid to go to court.
Yeah.
Second of all, you're going to have to take a day off of work. Possibly, I mean, you could hire an attorney if you want, but even if you do hire one, it's going to cost you more. So you have to take a day off of work. And the first day is just an arraignment when you go in. They're going to go in and ask you if you're guilty or not guilty. If you plead not guilty, then they're going to give you another court date. So you're going to have to take a second day off of work and come to court. Then if you happen to win, which is, I think I've only ever, in 30 years, I think I've lost two traffic cases, and that was it. Out of hundreds and hundreds. And it's like, if your chances aren't very good of winning, but if you did win, you still lost 2 days of work. So you didn't get paid for 2 days of work. I won, regardless. Then if you hired that attorney, then I had one time. It's like they hired an attorney, and it's like the attorney got it like moved down from a moving violation to like a non-moving violation, so it wouldn't affect their insurance. And it was still like, it was the same price. It was still the same price of the tickets. And they were like, we were all in the elevator together, and I'm like, great. He was like, how you like that? I'm like, I said, really, dude? His attorney was just sitting there, and I said, really, dude? I was like, you had to pay him like $500. You still got to pay the ticket, and you got to take 2 days off of work. I said, I won. He just shut up. It's like I won. I mean, you're pay a lawyer. Yeah, you're a fucking idiot. So it's like, you could have just paid the $180 and saved yourself the $500 that he just charged you.
Well, let me ask you a question. So you said, do people usually win in traffic court when they go down? Cops usually win in traffic court?
Oh, here? Yeah.
Yeah. Because with in New York, it's a crapshoot. I mean, the guys who just do the summons auto, who write tickets all the time,
yeah.
So they usually win because they get their testimony. They know the different judges, magistrates, or whatever. But like, I don't know. I've had some bad experiences in traffic court.
One of the tickets I lost because the damn judge didn't understand the law. He had to look it up. I wrote a guy for improper use of horns and warning devices. Because we were running a funeral escort and we had traffic stop, and he started laying on his horn. He started laying on his horn while we were doing this funeral, and it pissed me off. And the judge was like, that's a law? He had to look it up. I'm like, this ain't going to go good. And so he ended up dismissing that one. And the only other one I ever lost was because this judge that I was in front of hated my guts. This woman judge, I think she's dead now, but she hated me because I told you before I was married to an attorney. Well, she liked the attorney that I was married to, and she didn't like me when we got divorced because of the circumstance. It was my fault. I cheated on her. I've apologized. We've made up. We're friends, but I cheated on her. This judge hated me for that. So thank God I never really got much in front of her, and that was the only other one I lost it because of that. But other than that, no, I'd walk in. I mean, of course, I'm a radar and LiDAR instructor, so I know you put me on stand and ask me, you don't start asking me questions about that, so I can start giving you all that and stuff like that. And I had my pretty much ducks in a row when, for my traffic. And unless I'm on a Brady list or something, I automatically get the benefit of the doubt of who's telling the truth. Well, out here, it still works like that.
Yeah, I mean, in trial here, I mean, like, I don't know if it's like that here, but when you go to court out here, they will ask you, have your, you make sure you're not on the bad boy list, that your testimony's never been determined to be untruthful and stuff like that. Or do you have any have you asked you about substantiated complaints, which I'm lucky I never had one, do you have any and if you have pending stuff, I've had trials where I've had to explain it and it's gone fine, I have to explain it or explain it in front of a judge or whatever. But with the traffic court, I don't know, because like I said, some guys get their testimony down and they go to, but like, a lot of people lose in traffic court in New York, and LA was similar from what I could see. And I mean, like I said, the guys who just write summonses, like the ticket guys, you know, who motor, what you would call motor, or the motor, you know, like the highway guys. Yeah, they probably go so much, and they know exactly what to write every time. They know which judge, you know, they know the different guys. But I don't know. As a lieutenant, I didn't write, you know, like I didn't write tickets as a lieutenant or as a sergeant, you know, like unless I had to. If I was by myself and, you know, when I stopped people, if it led to an arrest, it led to an arrest. And if it didn't, I usually let them go for the violations. You know, I would just warn them for the, like, whatever the violations were. But there was once in a while when I had to write them, you know, because someone's being a real idiot, or I had to take them back to the station because, let's say, the car wasn't coming up as stolen. It turns out it wasn't stolen. It's just uninsured, unregistered, whatever it was, you know, like, you know, so, and you have to release them from the station. They have to write something. So I have to write some tickets sometimes. And I had this one guy, I went to him twice. Both times he had me lose for nonsense. I lost my mind in there. They're not real judges anyway. They're magistrates, but I lost my judge. I was so pissed because, like, in one of them, it was like, you know, I don't know if this is, say, in New York, because insurance is high and stuff and registration is high, you have a lot of, like, out-of-state plates and a lot of, like, fake plates. People drive around with fake license plates, like either those paper plates or, like, you know, people registering their car in Texas and they live in New York, or in New Jersey, they live in New York. But anyway, so this was a case where it was like something like the guy had fake plates, everything, the blacked out windows, blacked out windshield, everything. And the guy had me lose because I didn't say what the tint law was in his state, in this guy's state. I'm like, the guy lives in New York City. You know he lives in New York City.
That's like I wasn't doing it for his state. Over here.
Yeah. But like some guys are really anal, like there. But it must be nice to have like they're actually, unless you really screw up, you're gonna get the you know. Well,
like I said, y'all in front of a magistrate. We're actually, and city cops don't. But like me, the sheriff's office, when I go to court, even on a traffic ticket, that's in front of a district judge. It's no magistrate. It's a full blown district judge. We go in front. Oh yeah. No. It's a judge. It's a district judge that we go in front of.
Wow.
No, they don't. Yeah, I had one.
Like state law, it's part of the state, like criminal law. The traffic law and criminal law are the same.
Yeah. Well, like no, we got traffic and criminal, but like traffic's going to be under a 14 code,
right?
32 code, and the criminals under 14 code. So, but it's all through the state, yeah. So we go.
I'd rather go in front of, from my experience, not from obviously you, and you're also give expert traffic testimony because you do those. But like, I mean, I don't like those magistrates. But I'd rather have a bigger judge.
Put it this way: I was on my way to the gym one time when I worked in the mall department, and this guy like sucked the paint off. I was in a marked unit, sucked the paint off of me. Well, I pulled him over, and I was in shorts, T-shirt, and tennis shoes, and the dude was a dick, so I wrote him. I wasn't on duty or nothing. I wrote him. So we get to court. He's going to fight me in court. We get to court, and he looks at the judge, and I knew the judge because I bailiffed for a while, and she was one of my judges when I used to bailiff. And she knew me, and they got up there, and the guy's like, well, Your Honor, I did my testimony, and DA asked me all my questions, and you know, the guy gets up, does it. He's like, well, Your Honor, he wasn't even in uniform when he pulled me over. He had shorts and a T-shirt on. She said, was he in a police car? She's like, well, yeah. She went, so? That's like, yeah, I knew I had that. She was like, okay, so? He was in a marked police car. It don't matter what he had on. So, but that was his whole defense.
Oh, people use the dumb, like, and people just, like, I've had guys who pulled over, right? Like, we see him, and then they pull over, you know, we're going to stop them, but they pull over before we can. So then we go up and they get out of the car and start walking. You can't stop me. I'm not driving. Dude, I just saw you driving. And they hype themselves. Those are the guys who fight you a lot of time because they've hyped themselves up. And then you have someone watching it and they're like, the cops just stopped this man on the street for no reason. Like you didn't see, just like he just robbed someone 3 blocks. So I've had people call the cops on me in full uniform. They're beating on an innocent man when Yeah, he just robbed someone 3 blocks away. You didn't see that part of it. You just saw us come up to the guy, have a brief conversation, and then a fight ensued. You don't know what happened before.
Exactly.
Or, and it's fun. But I don't know if it's like that there, but I've had cops, you'll have the cops called on you as a police officer. I mean, obviously, we know. I'll be like, yeah, that's going to be us, Central.
No, I've had one person one time called 911. I'm sorry, twice. One time we were doing a full felony stop on the interstate. We had the interstate shut down. There was like multiple agents, state police, city police. There was I forget, this person had supposedly pulled a gun on somebody or something like that. So we got full felony stop on this guy. We're out. You got rifles, guns, shot. You got all these guns. And the person in the car called 911. One of the people in the car, and they were like, they're like, aren't the cops behind you? Yes, they have guns pointed at me. What should I do? And the dispatcher's like, whatever they tell you to. Now get off the phone. Yeah, they go call 911 on all the cops. Another time I had somebody call 911, and they're like, is there a deputy there? They're like, well, yeah. Well, we'll go outside and talk to them. I was beating on their door. Go outside and talk to them. They're like, well, we'll go outside and talk to them. They're like, I don't know what you want me to do about it. That's all you can do. They hung up on them. But yeah, gonna call I'm sure it's worse. I've seen it on multiple videos. I love nowadays on it's like, oh, give me a supervisor, give me your sergeant. I'm like, I don't know what these people think. The sergeant's gonna come there and miraculously say,
take their side.
It's like, no, you are free to go. My officer's an idiot. I'm like, you're just calling extra backup now for the cop. It's like, I
love that when they're free to go. We had this guy who was like, he would always this is gonna sound like, I don't want to give a New York abandoned person, but this does happen, right? He would always flash middle school girls his penis at middle school. We collared him like 30 times, right? And he wasn't touching them or anything, but he always flashed.
He was a perv.
Right? Yes, he was a perv. But he was a little, the word we were saying before? I don't know if you could say it.
What, you say midget?
No, like a little.
He was retarded. You can say it.
But he wasn't like.
He was slow?
He was at least as smart as Forrest Gump, which means that
he was slow.
He was slow, right? So anyway, he would always, we kept trying to, the judges kept feeling bad for him, and they kept just releasing him because, like, this guy's kind of like, so we had to call and finally they kept him for a little while. Then he got out again. And one time there's like a 4-year-old with them. So we got it to the point where we were like, yeah, you flashed some 12-year-olds again, you're going to jail. But this time it was a 4-year-old with him. So anyway, he gets arrested. Right? So he comes to the precinct, right? I actually wasn't there when I was at the station when they brought him in. And he goes, come on, Lieutenant. I didn't know there was a 4-year-old there. And I'm like, yeah, you were just trying to flash the 12-year-olds. That's okay. So he goes, yeah, I didn't know there was a 4-year-old there. So I said, all right, you know what, guys? Let him go. He learned his lesson. And he goes, really? And he starts, I was like, no, you idiot. You can't leave, you stupid. Like, but people just sometimes think like, oh, well, if I just explain myself.
Yeah, or say I'm sorry. The shoplifters. Well, I'm sorry. Well, how if I just pay for it? Well, no, you had the opportunity for that before you tried to steal it. So it's like, no. Oh, yeah.
No, it's great. It's like, I'll pay now,
Yeah, it's like, why didn't you pay in the first place? Oh, yeah, I can't. People are just, it's amazing to me. Well, I ain't going to keep you much longer. We've been on almost 2 hours, believe it or not.
Oh, wow. Jesus.
Yes. Everybody, thank y'all. Y'all make sure y'all pay attention. I'll try to let y'all know when it does come out. But remember, it's going to be called Another Body in Brooklyn. This is going to be his book. I'm going to get a copy.
Yeah, it's good. Trust me, it's a good book. It's very realistic, and cops will like it, but people who just into cops, into crime stuff will like it too, I think.
Don't hang up. Yeah, let everybody know, like I said, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Remember, we're not sheepdogs around here. We're lions, and y'all come see us Wednesday. Out.